You've walked away before, but somehow you keep ending up in the same kind of a relationship. Different face, same cycle. It's like you're trapped in an endless loop, and no matter how much you try to break it, you can't seem to break free. Why does this keep happening? And more importantly, how do you stop it for good? Thanks for watching this video today. My name is Ben Taylor. I'm a self-aware narcissist on this channel to provide awareness about narcissistic abuse. I'm here to actually help people like you actually recognize toxic patterns, escape the emotional manipulation and the abuse, and finally build the kind of life and the love that you deserve. To find that, I've worked with thousands of people and I've coached hundreds of clients, and today we're diving deep into why you keep attracting the same toxic relationships and how to break free once and for all. So stay tuned. If you haven't already, like, subscribe, share. We'd love to be able to help as many people understand about this. By the end of this video, you're going to understand a couple things. One is going to be the hidden reasons that you keep repeating the toxic cycles over and over. Number two is going to be the number one mistake that actually keeps you stuck in a toxic relationship. And number three is the exact steps to break free so that you never go back, regardless of how many times he hoovers. So let's talk about the first piece, why you keep falling into toxic relationships. Many people wonder why it keeps happening over and over and over again. They keep wondering, what's wrong with me? Well, let me ask you this. Have you found that you get yourself into a relationship and it starts off amazing? It feels like it's the greatest thing on earth, but over time, you start to feel like you're walking on eggshells. Maybe you justify it. Maybe you excuse it away and say, it's just a rough patch. They didn't mean it that way. I'll just try harder. Things will get better. Maybe he'll finally realize it. Maybe he'll finally see me. But you don't see this actually happen. You just keep telling yourself. Instead, the love bombing starts to fade away. The small criticisms turn into bigger put downs. The emotional connection starts feeling more like emotional exhaustion. And eventually you realize you're in the same exact situation that you swore that you'd never be in again. And you start to wonder, maybe there's something wrong with me. Why would I be back in the same type of toxic relationship that I just said I was going to get out of? Well, there's a reason. Why does this cycle keep repeating? It's not because you're just too nice. It's not because you're too forgiving. It's not because of that. It's because of something much deeper. It's your subconscious programming. The way that your brain is wired to seek what it's familiar with, even if what it's familiar with is toxic. You might be low-key addicted to the chaos, the inconsistency, the emotional highs and lows, all of the things that feel normal to you. And then the real healthy love might actually feel boring at first, might feel like awkward. Here's the kicker. Toxic people can sense this. They can see your empathy, your willingness to give people the benefit of the doubt, and he will use it to pull you in. He will use it to manipulate you. He will use it to gain control over you. We see this all the time. There's a couple of things that are going to leave you stuck, and there's a couple of patterns that you need to realize will leave you trapped. There's three main subconscious beliefs that keep people trapped in toxic cycles over and over. Three different beliefs. Let's talk through them. First one is, I can fix him. You believe that if you love him enough, if you support him enough, that he will change. That if you do something, it'll finally make it through his thick skull. If you do something, he'll finally realize it. He'll finally see your value and worth. He'll finally change. But the truth is, he doesn't want to change. He just wants you to stay stuck with him for a long period of time. The second thing that we need to look at is you might tell yourself, this is just how relationships are. You might have gotten used to this because you grew up in a home where love was inconsistent or love was conditional. Your nervous system might have been wired and conditioned for chaos. And as a result, this feels normal. So when a healthy, stable person comes along, it doesn't feel right. In fact, it feels completely wrong because it's something that you're not used to and your subconscious isn't used to that. The third thing that might be a problem as well is you just saying to yourself, I'm the problem. Maybe you've been told that you're too much. You're overreacting. You're overbearing. You're too emotional. But let me get clear. Healthy relationships don't require you to shrink yourself in order to be loved. That's not true love. That's not true care. Which of these patterns are you actually doing in your life right now? Let's talk about one of the mistakes that keeps you stuck in a toxic relationship. the mistake that you don't even realize that you're making, the mistake that is just happening. The biggest mistake that you make when you're trying to actually escape the toxic cycle, do you know what it is? It's that you focus all of it on spotting the red flags and not on healing. You focus on finding the different things, not on healing the patterns that attract you to the toxic guy in the first place. Let me understand this. Like, you can memorize every narcissistic trait in the book. You can watch all of my content, but it doesn't matter. You can spend all of your time focusing on, is this a narcissistic trait? Is this not a narcissistic trait? What about this? What about this? What about this? You can spend so much time focusing on all these different things. But here's the thing. If your inner belief hasn't changed, you'll still be drawn to the same dynamic. Until you change the subconscious, the story that you're telling yourself, the inner workings. Because it's not just about recognizing who's a narcissist and who's not. It's about recognizing you and what keeps pulling you into the toxic cycle over and over and over again. Because if you don't recognize that piece, nothing else is going to change. So we have to talk about breaking the cycle. What does this actually mean? What does it actually look like? We've already talked about your nervous system craves what is familiar. The toxic relationship feels normal. Your brain is going to keep seeking out toxic relationships unless you intentionally retrain it to be something different. And that's what we're going to talk about. And we're going to see about looking into doing the retraining, or sometimes we'll refer to it as rewiring your mindset, rewiring the story you believe. That's the rewiring the subconscious, working on changing and breaking the cycle that's currently leaving you stuck and trapped in a toxic relationship. So let's talk, what is this actually? We need to rewire your inner narrative. This is the first step. You need to rewire what you're telling yourself, what you're actually believing. Consider for a moment, you might need to ask yourself some simple questions. What do I actually believe about love? Where did I first learn those beliefs? Who first taught me that belief? Do I really want to keep holding on to that specific belief, that idea, that thought about love? Because you might have different perspectives. You might be, if you believe that love is earned through suffering, your relationships will reflect that belief. If you start telling yourself, I deserve love, that feels safe, not stressful, well, then your entire energy is going to start to shift. Every single aspect in here is learning how to reprogram, change the subconscious, change the story that you're telling yourself in order to be able to shift what you're thinking and believing to what is actually true. When we talk about the second piece, we need to start regulating your nervous system. We talk about when you're in a toxic relationship, when we're in the highs and the lows, a healthy relationship might feel boring at first. It might feel awkward. It might feel weird. That's because your nervous system is wired for survival mode. So anything that's not survival mode must not be right. It must be wrong. But one of the most powerful things you can do is to learn to sit in peace without feeling the urge to fix something, to fix him, to fix another person, whatever it might be. Because stability isn't boring. It's actually healing. The problem is you've been addicted to the chaos for such a long period of time that stability feels weird. Third step inside of here is we need to set a higher standard. Toxic people don't just go after people with strong boundaries. They don't look and be like, strong boundary, let me find this one. They go to people who are willing to overlook the red flags. Yes, some of those might have strong boundaries, but they also overlook things that were like, wait a second, red flag, don't go after this guy. And the more you honor yourself, your own needs, the less you're going to tolerate the emotional breadcrumbs that a narcissist is giving you. You don't just need to go up and be more forgiving. You need to be less available to the people who are going to drain you and use you and abuse you over and over and over again. This piece of you waking up to this reality has to be a part of your life in order to see and understand what is going on. So how has this resonated with you today? Do you see some of the patterns? Are you making the number one mistake? Are there different aspects inside of here that you have seen that you're struggling with? If you've gotten this far in this video, it means you're already waking up to some of these patterns. And that's powerful because awareness is the first step, is the first piece in you actually breaking free, breaking the trauma bond, breaking the addiction, getting away from this toxic cycle that keeps happening over and over and over. But it's not just awareness. Awareness is the first step. You've been told it's all your fault and that makes you feel crazy. No one understands you and that leaves you in a place of being alone. You've tried to break free multiple times and that leaves you helpless because nothing you've done has actually worked. It hasn't actually got you free or liberated from this toxic relationship. So you feel crazy, alone, and hopeless. Guess what? That's a lie. Because all it is how you've been raised and conditioned inside of this abusive relationship over and over. And as a result, you've sacrificed your growth, you've sacrificed your worth, and you've been trapped inside of a toxic relationship. What if I showed you the path to freedom? a way for you to actually get free mentally and emotionally from the toxicity that's happening right here, right now. You deserve more. You deserve to be able to heal. And I want to help you with that. If I can help you with that, go to rawmotivations.com/breakthrough, schedule a call there, and let's talk. If you're at the place where you're ready to take the next step, then this is the place for you. If it resonated with you, let me know in the comments first and foremost. Which part hit home the most? Which part resonated with you? I'm going to read those comments, and I'd love just to be able to hear from you and just be able to understand what hit home for you the most. Second thing inside of here is you've taken the first step of watching this video and having awareness. Now, what about the second step? What about the next step for your own healing, for your own growth? If you're at the place where you're serious about breaking free from these toxic cycles, then it's time for us to have a conversation. I want you to go to rawmotivations.com/breakthrough. You're going to see a video there of myself and of my wife talking through our story, talking through the journey, talking through the process, and then also talking through the ability of you to actually be free mentally and emotionally. If you want to know more about that, you can click on the link below, rawmotivations.com/breakthrough. Watch the video of myself and my wife, fill out a short application so I get to know you a little bit, and schedule a call. It's a free call for us to be able to talk and be able to see and understand what's going on in your life and how to be able to build a plan to help you move forward and help you grow and help you develop. And if you want to go any deeper, check some of the videos that we'll have here, because I want to break down other tactics, other pieces, other aspects of narcissistic abuse so you can actually be free and have some of the tools. But if you're ready for the next step, then go to rawmotivations.com/breakthrough today. Thanks so much for being here. If you haven't already, like, subscribe, rate, review, and send this to someone else who might be dealing with the same thing. You sharing this with one other person might help them actually be free mentally and emotionally. You have a blessed, wonderful day. We'll see y'all next time.